Ladies and gentlemen, Williams, we have Nicholas Latifi and Alex Albon. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for getting our fan forum underway, and we will potentially take some questions out of the crowd for you. But first up, Nicholas, I'll start with you. Melbourne's a bit like your home GP, isn't it? I mean, the vibe's a bit similar, and obviously having crowds, having people back, basically us wearing long pants is extraordinary here because we haven't been able to do it for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of what I've been saying. I mean, obviously I came out here in 2020. Didn't get to do the race, but sat on the stage on the Thursday and kind of did the whole media day. And yeah, one of the things I did notice was the vibe was very similar to kind of what I've experienced back home in Canada. You know, races in a park, so close to the city centre, everyone walking in, lots of greenery, and yeah, it did kind of remind me of home. So it's great to be back here. It's great to have experienced my first taste of the track in Albert Park. And yeah, excited for qualifying today.
We will talk about the track in just a moment. Alex, for you, welcome here. You actually came via Thailand, though, as you came through to Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. It's there's a lot of Thai people in Thailand. There's a lot of Thai people. Really? It's a funny one, but it's crazy to think there's a lot of Thai people in Thailand. But there's a lot of Thai people in Melbourne, and there was a lot of people on the flight. But it was great. I was there. Went to see my family. It's a little bit like here. We've had 2 years of very heavy COVID, really hard to get into the country. So I've obviously not seen my family for a while. It was good to go back. I dyed my hair. I had a good time.
Yeah, you got the hair bleached, though, because a couple of the kids had their hair bleached, but you've sort of taken it back out again, have you?
Is it not there anymore?
It's still there. You just need to see it in the sunlight.
Oh, we need to see it in the sunlight. Okay.
We went to an orphanage and there was like I think, you know, all the kids had their hair dyed and it's not going to be L'Oreal Tresemme hair dye. It was some of this, I don't know what it was. I was expecting to wake up with no hair, but it's still on there, so yeah.
Then you'd be looking like me. Alex, obviously great for you to have the seat at Williams. Is this sort of version 2, version 3 of Alex Albon? How are you approaching this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel better prepared. I feel like having a year out for me has helped me. I feel I've experienced more, you know, how to work with a team, how to develop myself as a driver. There was a lot of things when I went into Red Bull, I felt relatively inexperienced, and I feel more complete. And I feel like I've even though I've had a year away from driving, I feel like I've come back into F1 better prepared than how I left off.
And Nicholas, for you, what does success look like for Williams, not only here, but for the year going through, because you've had some challenging times?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we're not starting off as a team where we hope to start this year. That's fairly obvious. So I think what success will look like for us as a team is just constant progression through the year. You know, the reality is we are in the 10th slowest car. So we want to try and progress that by the end of the year and try and not be in that position. So obviously not putting any, you know, targets on finishing positions and whatnot, because that's obviously very difficult to do with kind of the performance we have right now. But we know we can improve and have some constant development throughout the year, so that's going to be the goal.
So how important is it for you to work together and obviously the team to work together to try and raise the whole level of where Williams is at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, as Nicky said, we're not where we want to be, and to get where we want to be, we need to work together. We need to find out, we know what the balance issues are in the car. We know where we need to find lap time to our rivals. So it's about giving the right feedback and being efficient with it. We have a budget cap now, so to chase back and get where we need to be, we need to be very selective of how we choose to update the car. So it's not going to happen overnight. We do need to think about it carefully, and you know, we're already making the right steps to go forward. And so, of course, that puts it also puts it up to us to communicate that to the team. And at the minute, you know, we're not in a position where we can be closed to how we communicate to the team. We have to be very open because yeah, we want to score points. We want to be on podiums. That's our goal.
Well, we want to see that as well, no doubt at all. Let's talk about the track a little bit because for you, Nicholas, I suppose you haven't got that muscle memory of having an old track that you've been around. It's the first time it's been resurfaced basically since the event has been here in Melbourne. What are your thoughts on the track? It's much faster out the back. What sort of speeds are you doing there? How are you changing your markers? How are you approaching, both of you, the new track here at Albert Park?
I'll go first. I mean, yeah, obviously I don't have the, like you said, the reference of what it was like before. So from that sense, yeah, it's really just discovering a brand new track for me, which as a driver is always a very fun and unique challenge. And it's definitely a very intense track. I mean, it's obviously a street track kind of vibes in certain corners, a bit more open in others. But yeah, there's really not a lot of margin for error here. Very, very fast track, especially with some of the changes they've done. So yeah, kind of just been easing into it, not taking any unnecessary risks in FP1 and FP2. It's as well the new tarmac. I mean, I don't know what it was like before, but it's, I mean, at least much lower grip than the track we just came from. Still bumpy in places, which is, I guess I wasn't expecting considering it was just paved, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, bumps add character, they added a different challenge to the track, but yeah, it's been pretty fun so far.
Alex, for you?
Same as Nicky. The track has changed a little bit. For us as drivers, it doesn't change the approach or there's not really anything that sticks out that's wildly different to the previous years. As Nicky said, it's the resurfacing more than the change of the corners that it takes them a bit more time to get used to. But I would say, coming from the last two races, the biggest difference has been the fans because relatively quiet the first two races. We don't have that many people coming to the races.
We love it here.
Yeah, you do. I mean that Melbourne walk. That Melbourne walk is long. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have to arrive here 30 minutes earlier just to get through, but it's great to see, and it's been amazing to see all the fans come out, and everyone's very passionate, obviously.
Now, speaking of fans, Ruby's got a microphone. We've got time for one or two quick questions. So whoever's got a question of the Williams boys up here, stick your hand in the air, and over this side, Ruby, maybe over to the left. And here we go. So what I need you to do is I need you to say your name, please, and your question.
Yeah, my name's Samuel Moss. I actually flew in from Thailand for you. I've got the Thai badge right here. Can I get him to sign my cap? Or, I saw you at Monsoon Valley. That was Hua Hin. But what's your typical holiday destination in Thailand?
Oh, the thing for me is it kind of sucks because every time I go to Thailand, I'm going for work, more or less. I get to see my family. Hua Hin was maybe the second or third time I've been out of Bangkok just because of how it works. So in November we have our final race in Abu Dhabi, and I'll go straight to Thailand. I want to do a road trip with my girlfriend, basically from the north down to the south. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. But yeah.
It's beautiful. Thailand is fantastic. Not only the beaches, but Chiang Mai and those sort of areas are absolutely brilliant as well. One quick more question before we go, Ruby. There's might be a young person just in the middle there. So can you say your name and your question, please?
Harrison.
Harrison. Okay, what's your question, Harrison?
What is your favourite track?
What is your favourite track? Nicholas, I'll start with you.
So my favorite track is it's not Albert Park, unfortunately, but it's Silverstone.
It will be though after Sunday.
Yeah, it's open to change it after Sunday, but yeah, right now it's always been Silverstone, just the kind of high speed flowing nature of the circuit. It's a very high grip track as well, so it's just a very enjoyable circuit to drive with these modern day F1 cars.
Plenty of heritage there as well for you, Alex.
Yeah, same as Nick. I feel like if we don't say Melbourne, we're gonna. Not get out of here.
You won't be allowed to leave.
I went there already, so it's okay. Yeah.
It is other than Melbourne, what's your favourite track?
Other than Melbourne, which is the best track that's ever been designed, I would say Suzuka. Suzuka for me is really amazing. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. One or two quick ones as well. Ruby's got down here in the front, and so we need your name and your question, please.
So now, oh God, that's really. My name's Gerline. I had a question for both of you. How do you deal with pressure while on the track?
So the question, how do you deal with pressure while you're on the track? So what's going through the mind? How are you dealing with all of that?
I would say honestly the pressure is always before and after. When you're driving, it's quite a strange feeling. But once you got your helmet on and you're in the car, everything else goes away for me. You can feel pressure when you're starting a lap in qualifying or at the start of a race. But once the lights go out and you're starting doing whatever you're doing, it's like everything just disappears and you're at one with the car. And actually, you can get nervous, and it's quite funny. My first time back in Williams, first time back in F1, the night before, there is that pressure, there's that nerves in what you're doing. But as soon as you get in the car, once you're strapped in, it's like you're at home, and everything else goes away from it, and you feel like, this is what I was born to do.
It's your office, it's your workplace, isn't it? That's what you're going to do. What about for you?
Yeah, from my side, I mean, I agree with Alex is saying, when you're on track and the kind of visor goes down, you try and block out everything, and you kind of, to a certain extent, have to block out everything because you're so focused on driving these cars and keeping it on the black stuff. So in that sense, it's really just focusing on exactly what you have to do, and that's often the next braking point, the next turning point, and kind of one corner at a time, one lap at a time. So then obviously depending on the situation, like Alex said, if you're lining up a qualifying lap, like obviously there's a lot of things that could be going through your mind beforehand. But then again, if it's on an out lap, you're thinking of your tire preparation, your brake preparation, so you don't really have so much time to think about the extra stuff. And I guess in a racing scenario, again, then there might be if you're attacking, defending, but you're just so in the zone, you're so focused on exactly what you have to do. You're not thinking of, what happens if I make a mistake here, or what's going to be the result of this. So, each driver will be different. Each driver will, I guess, cope or manage the pressure and expectations in a different way. But yeah, once you're kind of on track, you're, in the zone.
Good question. I want to ask you, Alex, a question, though, about advice, because you've been mentoring, or you were last year mentoring Yuki Tsunoda. Now, that's a bit of a challenge, surely. How have you been going with Yuki, and what sort of advice have you been handing out to the young man?
Yeah, he calls me sensei. Yeah, even in Bahrain, I managed to out-qualify him by one position, and he came up.
So
to me.
You said you have much to learn, young grasshopper. Is
exactly,
that right?
Exactly. I said the student's not yet the master. But yeah, it's good. It's good. He's a great kid. I say kid. I'm racing him. It feels a bit strange, but he's a super nice guy, and he's kind of excitable.
Yes.
And I love to tease him and make fun of him all the time. But he's super quick, and I felt like during our time, actually I got asked to coach him during a time when I definitely didn't have a seat in F1, and I was thinking I wonder if there's an opportunity there for myself. But once
So that's a tough one. You're actually helping someone who's potentially taking a seat away from you.
And in the beginning, I was like, no way, I'm not going to do this. I want that seat. But as things went on and things progressed, I had an amazing opportunity, obviously, to sign with Williams. And then it was like, well, I can go hands-on on this and try and help him. And it was quite interesting because he was fighting with a lot of issues that I had in my years of racing. And I felt like I could really make an impact for him. And it was great to see him progress. You almost see it like, wow, look at what he's doing now. And we had a good relationship, and we were working together on where he needed to improve. And it's not most of what we ever talk about is not driving, because all the drivers know how to drive. It's about how to deal with everything else. How to deal with the engineers, how to give the right feedback, how to deal with the media, how to deal with all that kind of stuff, which people forget. We're grown up. We've got into F1 because we have the talent to drive the cars, but everything else that comes on top of it is new, especially for kids in F2. They for instance, me, I think I had 600, 700 followers in F2, and then it just went overnight, just went crazy. We're not used to.
So now you're at how many millions or thousands?
I don't know. It was maybe 6. My mum and my dad and my cats, but yeah, no, it's a fair few. So it was really exciting. I did enjoy it.
Did you find it also, in a way, crystallised some of the thoughts that you had, or actually refined your own thinking when you're having to explain it to someone else?
Yeah, it did. It feels exactly that. You know, you tell him stuff which you would tell yourself in that respect. But it was good to see, and I guess part of it was that feeling that I could really empathize where he was coming from. And so when you know, right now I think he's in a great position and he's doing a great job. He's been quite unlucky with the reliability.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good, and you know, we still have that strong relationship. But just nowadays, I don't give him as much information.
Well, Yuki will be up a little bit later, so I'll ask him. I'll say, how's the sensei travelling as well? Oh, there's a big Alex and Nick head over there. Well done, Nicholas. And
there's two of us. We're like Siamese twins.
Lance is up there as well. Quick question, hand in the air if you've got one. Yes, we've got one over to your right there, Ruby. The young man, maybe one or two deep. I need your name, please, and your question.
Hi, my name is Ash. I have a question for both drivers. Do you have a pre-race ritual that you do before every race? Love you both.
I mean, I don't have a pre-race ritual in the sense of superstitions. I have a kind of pre-race or let's say pre-session routine because it's the same thing I'll do before a practice, qualifying, or a race. And it's basically, you know, just a kind of warm-up that I think most drivers on the grid will do in a combination of, you know, physical stuff, cognitive stuff, kind of mental stuff, just to kind of wake up all the senses, make sure I'm alert and ready to jump in the car and kind of get the most out of it. I would say maybe the only thing, which I don't really consider a superstition, but I always get in the car from the left side of the car. But besides that, yeah, there's nothing else really special from my side.
Yeah, when I'm with Nikki, I can hear all this grunting and stuff next door. You know, we have our driver's rooms next to each other, so we're getting ready.
Very thin walls in our
there's thin walls.
motorhome, yeah.
We don't have roofs normally when we're in these kind of flyaway races. So I do hear that often. But for myself, I used to be very superstitious. I think that's a Thai thing. But I've tried to get away from it as much as I can, just because it doesn't help. And you know, if you could imagine, you forgot your lucky coin at a racetrack, and then you're thinking, oh my god, my weekend's finished before it's even started. That's not a great thing. So I still have lucky things, like for instance these are kind of lucky charms.
So you kicked it
because you know we're not allowed to wear them anymore.
Yeah, we got that ruling. So
we got told we're not allowed to wear underpants anymore while we drive. So
yeah, it's true. We had an hour and a half briefing, and I think 35 minutes was talking to us about how we can't wear underpants. But anyway.
They have been very generous with their time. Would you please wish them well, qualifying and Sunday, Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi from Williams. Great to have them on board. Thank you very much, gentlemen.